got a point of order. Point of order. Courtesy. Can we all shut our cell phones off? It felt like a funeral. You know, these things are going to start. We got a lot of people here with live cell phones.
I'll start with mine.
I'm going to shut mine off if everybody else.
I don't think they worked out here anyway.
Okay, thank you. I'm happy to be your moderator this evening. I would ask you, if you do stand to speak, that you give your name for the benefit of the town clerk. And I would ask that we all follow the old Bethel tradition of courtesy to our neighbors. I'm now going to ask the Town Council to read the resolution for the evening.
Moderator, there seems to be a lot of confusion about why we're here tonight.
Do you want to take the mic?
Mr. Moderator, there seems to be a lot of confusion as to why we're here tonight. So I have a brief statement to read, and then I'll read it into the record, just so everybody knows. Can you hear me?
You're reading a statement or the resolution first?
I'd rather read the statement first and then the resolution.
All right, go ahead.
Very simply, prior to reading the motion, I'd like to advise this body of what the authority of this special town meeting is. Despite what you might have read in the newspaper or notices that might have been forwarded to you, this body tonight is acting in an advisory capacity only. This body, under the town's charter, does not have the authority to enact any ordinance, including the one that has been the subject matter of the petition to call this special town meeting. Under Bethel's charter, only the Board of Selectmen have the authority to enact an ordinance, and under the charter concerning town meetings, it specifically sets forth the section number of the charter that gives the legislative power to enact ordinances to the Board of Selectmen. The result of any vote taken or decision made by this body tonight is only a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen as to this body's opinion about enacting an ordinance along the lines that the petition was circulated for. The Board of Selectmen can choose to consider it or not, including the right to make changes to the substance should the Board of Selectmen decide to take this matter up. It is solely within the Board of Selectmen's jurisdiction. With that, I'll read the motion. Shall the Town of Bethel recommend to the Board of Selectmen that the Board of Selectmen enact an ordinance that requires the Town of Bethel to forward to all postal patrons of the Town of Bethel via U.S. mail the same notification/agency information of the upcoming referendum that any agency of the Town of Bethel is forwarded by means to parties outside of the agency itself, where the agency is publicly funded by the Town of Bethel. Excluded from the recommended ordinance will be publicly financed notifications for such referendum, which are required by law, including but not limited to federal and state laws, Town of Bethel ordinances, and charter provisions.
You've heard the reading of the resolution. Do we have a second so we can have discussion? Is there a second?
Second.
Motion, the resolutions are read by the Town Council and it has been seconded. The floor is now open for discussion.
Mr. Chairman, may I?
Yes? Your name and address, Mr. Duff, please.
Thank you. Michael Duff, 33 Long Meadow Lane. Whereas an informed electorate is critical to a strong democracy, I would like to make a motion to amend the main motion to change the words consider and recommend to read compel and urge.
Second.
That's the substance of your amendment to change those two words?
That is correct, sir.
And we have a second?
Second.
The motion has been made and second to change the wording of the resolution read by the Town Council in the nature of changing two words to change, repeat it again, Mr. Duff, so everyone knows.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I move to amend the main motion to change the words consider and recommend to read, compel, and urge.
And that motion that amendment has a second. So we are now debating, discussing the amendment to the main motion.
Point of information.
Point of information from the Town Council.
I think what he's trying to amend is the motion itself. You're attempting to amend the actual.
You got to use your mic.
I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to amend the motion that I read into the record, and what you're doing is, that language is not in the motion, it's slightly different. You want to look at it, all right? What you're trying to do is amend the call, and that's not what we're doing. You should be amending the motion, that's all. And you could do that. So you would just take out the word recommend, I think, and put urge and compel. Otherwise, the language is the
Yes,
same.
sir. In other words, excluded from the recommended orders?
Just show the town about the compel and urge the board.
That is correct.
So your motion is,
Correct. I have to withdraw my motion and request to make the corrected motion. Amended.
so what is your motion now to amend?
In reference to the motion, shall the town of Bethel recommend to the Board of Selectmen, remove the word recommend and inject the word compel and urge.
And that's it?
Yes,
So
sir.
that's,
Yes.
So it's a substance, basically the same substance of what you said to begin with.
That is correct.
All right, and that has been seconded?
Second.
All right, now we're now discussing this amendment, which is about two words, changing two words to recommend to urge and compel. Is there any discussion on the amendment by Mr. Duff?
I would speak,
Bill Michael.
Bill Michael, 27.5 Leeward Avenue. I would rise in support of the amendment by Mr. Duff, as many of the people here were signatories since last November 1st, right after the big storm, for a petition process that required 544 qualified signatures. Those people here signing that, and those that are not here tonight, signed a petition that read, "Shall the voters of Bethel compel and urge the Board of Selectmen?" Those words were chosen because they had teeth. Consider and recommend were not chosen because it was too flimsy. It would not have been worth going through a 544 count petition drive. So I would hope that my friends here, and those that are not my friends, would join me in support amending the motion to read as it was presented to the voters of Bethel. Compel and urge. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Yes, sir. If we can't, would you want to come forward, or do you want to speak from there? I think maybe it'd be better to come forward so everyone can hear. I think you'd be better off. I would suggest that to everyone, to come forward and use the mic. Otherwise, and we'll just shorten the discussion.
Ted Stevenson, 32 Sunset Hill Road. I would just request that the town attorney comment on the legality and appropriateness of this amendment.
You got to speak into the mic.
I'm using the mic. I would request that the town attorney comment on the legality and the appropriateness of this proposed amendment.
Permission, Mr. Moderator?
Yes.
The first comment I want to make is that the petition that was put into effect, right, the petition that was put into effect, the key component of it was that after the words urge and compel, it states to have the Board of Selectmen enact the ordinance. There's no question that what this is we're still in the same position. You can change the words, but the result is going to remain the same. And what that is that whether you use the words compel or urge or recommend and consider, what's going to happen is it is still a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen.
All right, thank you, sir.